So 3 months ago, I told you that, and I quote, theater is playing make-believe, but the goal is to make people actually believe what you're making up. And remember, I compared that to a soccer game. Like, you're really good at soccer, I'm not really good at soccer, but if we were doing it as a devised piece of theater, I'd have a whole group of people working together, actors, lighting designers, sound designers, what have you, all working together to convince you that I was good at soccer and that a real soccer game was taking place in front of you. Now, 3 months later, that's still true. That definition still applies. But it only applies in kind of a one-dimensional, kind of narrow sense. It only applies as realistic theater. And that meaning that the pretend soccer game that you'd see in front of you would look, sound, and feel like a real soccer game. And there's nothing wrong with realism, per se. I like realism. And I know you're a third grader, so you might not exactly understand the concept of a non-realistic soccer game. But when you grow up, you'll come to understand that as a piece of theater, you can do so much more than just portray it realistically. You can do practically anything you want with the idea that you're working with. Like let's say my idea is a soccer game. As long as what you see and hear and feel transports you in a place where you can imagine yourself in a soccer game, even if what you're watching doesn't look exactly like a soccer game, that's effective theater. That's more challenging theater, both for the people involved and for the audience watching it. It's more rewarding theater because, if you're just making a soccer game look like a soccer game, you can just watch a soccer game and try to mimic the what you see and what you hear. But if you're taking that in a different direction, that's just so more exciting, and once you figure out a way to do it, it's just infinitely more rewarding. So, in real life, like I said, you can keep on kicking my butt in a soccer game. But in the theater, I can create something that doesn't even look like a soccer game. And yet you will still feel like you're at a soccer game. If that makes sense. I know you're a third grader. Maybe none of this makes sense, but give it some time. And maybe you'll learn just what it is theater can really do.